All right. The outcome of Saturday was great. We were able to keep the Legends Trophy, and as I told our players, that trophy represents team glory. And there was a lot of good as you watch film from both sides of the ball. But the important thing is continue to remember how we got to that outcome. And we got to continue to recognize, what gives this program and this group a chance to achieve that outcome in terms of our preparation, in terms of, the way we prepare, our strategic preparation, and then the ability to go out there and do it. And so we have to continue to recognize, listen, we can play better. Like there's plays all over the film that we could perform at a higher level. And, we have to get back to work and understand really how good this group can be. And if we understand that, you'll be willing to put in the work that it takes to really achieve that desired outcome. So recapping the game, players of the game on offense were Riley Leonard. On defense were Howard Cross. Special teams was Logan Thomas. Scout players of the week were Leo Scheidler, Preston Zinner, and the special teams was Isaiah Dunn. A couple injury updates. Mitch Jeter will be questionable for the game. Jordan Faison will be available. Again, with Jordan, he was available to play last week. It's just, he's not 100%. And we got to make sure that we do everything in our power to help him get to 100%. But he'll be available. And Billy Schrouth is questionable. Last injury update is Benjamin Morrison injured his hip and has to have surgery and will be out for the season. So obviously it's a blow to our team. You lose a captain, a great football player, and you feel terrible for the kid because he gives football, he gives preparation, everything he has. And, it's just tough, but he's a tough kid. He's a tough individual. He's been through this before, and he'll have surgery and get back to work to becoming the best version of Benjamin. So moving forward to Georgia Tech, really good football team that's 5-2. As you watch film, they do really good things on all three phases. It will require great preparation, a great game plan, and an execution on Saturday for us to achieve the results that we want. So it's important. We got to get back to work. With that, I'll open up for questions.
Starting out on your right side, second row, Tom Noy.
Marcus, you were quoted on NBC the other day of saying you're tired of being a good team. You want to be a great team. What does a great team look like to you?
For us, that means we're playing at our full potential, the best we can. That's just understanding that there's more to what this football team can do. And so, everybody's definition of great can be different, but it's really a challenge for us as a program to elevate and take that next step to make sure we're performing at our full potential.
What is it about this team that they can take that next step, that you can say in week 6 we want to be great now? Maybe you couldn't have said that after week 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, it's their commitment to be willing to put in the work. They've been committed from the first day we started this process and we started this journey. But I think now we are all starting to see, okay, what that work and preparation truly entails. And so that's got to be our focus, and is that, okay, we got to continue to prepare the way it takes to hopefully get the outcome that we want on Saturday.
Front row on your left, Tyler Horka.
With the Morrison news, and obviously you lost Mickey earlier in the season, where do you feel like you're at with the cornerback group? I know you guys are really confident in Leonard Moore, but is it a lot of Carson Hobbs now? Will Jordan Clark have to play outside? Just kind of where are things?
Yeah, those two guys will have to help us if we need them. Carson, who was in the same position 2 weeks ago when Christian was out. And so Jordan Clark could help us at corner as he showed in the Louisville game too. So we're obviously thin with some injuries, but I'm very confident in the room.
Jeremiah Love didn't have a touch in the first quarter. I know he was out there for that first series, and that didn't go the way that y'all wanted to. Was it always the plan to put Jadarian in there for that second series and then kind of ride him the way that you guys did?
Yeah, I mean, we have a plan going to each game in terms of how we'll rotate the running backs. And then there's also a plan that in-game adjustments, if a guy's hot, continue to leave him in there, and that's what it was.
Front row on your right, Eric Hansen.
Hey, Coach, you guys have one of the best fourth down defenses in the country, and you also go for it a lot on fourth down yourselves. Why do you feel like your team is so good at that on defense, and does the fact that you guys do that on offense help you prepare for that defense?
Yeah, I think the game plans in terms of what we do on both sides of the ball have been really good on fourth down, the execution, but it's a confidence. It's a confidence that I have as a head coach to offensively go for it on fourth down, knowing that I believe we'll make it. But also, as a thought, if we don't, I have a lot of confidence in our defense to stop the opposing offense. And the same thing, 4th and 1, 4th and short mentality on defense. It's those guys, they have a lot of confidence. Make the call, Coach Golden, let's go. And they've really done a good job of executing exactly what we've asked them to do. And so you have to be simplistic. You can't have too much for fourth down defense, but we have enough that our guys understand and can play fast doing it.
And then I'll group these guys together. I know you mentioned some of them. Now that you've got to see film of them, Rubio, Burnham, and Bryce, how do you feel like they can maybe help you going forward with Bryce's growth and then the other two being healthy?
Yeah, Bryce has been tremendous. We knew he was a special player when he first got here, but he's developing faster than probably we all thought. He is physically ahead of most people his age, but he plays the game with an effort that is uncommon at times. And so when you put those two things together, he's continuing to learn the game of football. That's why he's performing at a high level. It's great to have Josh Burnham back. When I went back and watched the film, at first he has the interception or fumble, whatever they called it, but he played really well. He's different when he's in there. And the week of practice, I was a little bit cautious because, he's still not putting all his weight on his ankle, but, he didn't play that way. He really did a great job. It's great to have him back. Gabriel Rubio, to have him, a guy that's been out all fall camp, all season. Last week was his first true week of practice, and he performed really well for us.
Up the middle, third row, Sean Stiers.
Marcus, you get another dual threat quarterback, obviously, this week. What stands out to you about Haynes King? What's maybe unique about him?
Yeah, both quarterbacks can run the ball. I know King went out during the game last week, but their offense really didn't change much. They're both threats with the ball in their hands. He also does a good job in the passing game. Doesn't make many mistakes. They don't turn the ball over, so it's going to be a great challenge for us.
Obviously, their offense is different, but does it, from a defensive preparation standpoint, having dual threat quarterbacks 2 weeks in a row, does that kind of help the preparation there?
Yeah, I think, going against a quarterback that can run it in practice every day helps you develop a game plan. But every offense is different. You're going to have to account for him in the run game, but also in the pass game. So, we'll have a great plan for him and got to go execute it.
Third row on your right, Tim Priester.
Coach, you've talked about Leonard more in the past, but think about when you recruited him and he signed, and then how your opinion has been shaped or reshaped since he got here, what you've seen from him. Yeah,
I think when you recruit him and you sign him and you develop a relationship with him, you understand he has the talent, he has the length, he has the skill set. He's a super intelligent young man, but it still takes time to play fast, right, in a new defense. But he was a guy in fall camp that you said, okay, he's playing fast already, and we knew he would help us this year. And at some point, if injuries happen, he would have to start for us, and he'll be ready. And we have a lot of confidence in Leonard Moore.
It was about a year ago now you were getting prepared to face a Tyler Santucci coached defense. What do you see the same with, and obviously he has different personnel now, but what do you see the same, and how would you characterize his defenses?
yes, they have some similarities in terms of, schematically what they did at Duke, but there are also some different stuff they do, third down specifically. And so, I think you have a general idea as you go into game planning, but when you really look at the details, I mean, it's going to be specific to Georgia Tech, and we have to make sure we have a good game plan offensively.
Third row on your left, Pete Byrne.
Hey, Marcus. You guys getting ready to go out on the road probably for the first time in like a month, and both of your road visits so far have been very successful this year. I'm curious, is your message at all different when you're away from home versus home, and if so, how?
I think every week my message can be tailored towards the opponent, towards where we're at right now in the season, home or away. I think it's important that our guys have an idea of the environment we're going in. I think that's important. Like, I don't want there to be surprises. I want them to know exactly what it was like going into College Station, exactly like it was going into West Lafayette, and what it's going to be like going in the Mercedes-Benz Dome to play Georgia Tech. So I think that's so important that they have a visual representation of where we're going, so they don't spend time looking around, wasting time on, hey, where's my family going to be? Where's our sideline? Like, where we're going, and it's often a time when I'm there, I say, hey, we've been here before, right? Everybody understands we've been here before, so it's a mindset that hopefully they're comfortable in terms of the environment that we're going into. But the message will be tailored, I'm sure, to the opponent and where we're at in the season.
And I'm paraphrasing what you said when you started today, that you need to remember kind of how you got the result that you got this past week. We've heard you say that more than once this year. Is that just a message that you like to reinforce, or is there some concern you have that hasn't made it through to the team yet?
No, it's called complacency. That's life. That's every individual. We're naturally, I think, people naturally can be complacent. And so it's a reminder that there's more. It's a reminder that if you realize, right, how good you can be, you're going to be willing to put the work in. And so I have to continue to make sure everybody in our program understands that. The result of Saturday is a reflection of the preparation. And we can't just say, let's just repeat it. You can't just go in there and say, hey, repeat exactly what we did last week. No, we have to elevate and we have to be better. But if they understand how good you truly can be, right, and you can show them, hey, here's certain plays that we did not achieve the result we wanted, right? Here's where we were perfect. If they realize how good they can be, they'll be willing to put the work in to achieve that result.
Right back corner, Andrew Mentok.
Despite losing two of your best pass rushers, the defense has actually increased the number of pressures it's generated in each of the last two games. After watching the film, what's led to that improvement?
I think just the execution of some of the stunts, some of the pass rush lanes we're trying to get. It's not always bringing extra people. That might be some of the case, but I think it's just continue to get better at technique and execution. You can't just sit here and come up with some scheme that every time's going to get pressure on the quarterback. At times, you're going to have to out-execute the guy you're going against, right? And what we're going to try to do is create as many one-on-one matchups as we can and believe that our guy's going to out-execute the opponent. And so I think that's just a reflection of what you're seeing is our guys executing the fundamentals at a higher level.
On Saturday, Cross and Mills led you in that category. I'm sure it's more difficult to kind of generate that pressure up the middle, but is it more disruptive when they're actually able to get to the quarterback from that spot?
It's huge. It's huge. Those two played dominant. And, they played well all year. And but, I think what you saw this game is they got a couple sacks, but it's they got to understand that sacks doesn't always reflect how you play, right? Is that, there can be a narrative out there that you're not playing well because you don't have the stats to back it up. That's not always the case, right? But Saturday, what the case was, they played really well and they had the stats to back it up.
Front row on your left, Jack Sobel.
Hey, Marcus. After you got a chance to dive into the tape, what did you feel like the passing offense did well that it hadn't been doing as effectively as before?
They did a great job of protecting the quarterback. did a great job of our quarterback making the right decisions and confident and quick reads. He threw the ball well, wideouts being exactly where they wanted to be. And a lot of it still comes down to preparation, though. I think, they had a great idea of what they were going to see, and they saw it. And so it was a reflection of a couple of those plays, a reflection of exactly what they saw in practice.
I feel like it's been a while since we asked you about the young linebackers, but you had Kingston, Drake, and Jaden. Snap counts remaining high. They're making plays. How have you seen them progress throughout the season?
They're just getting better and better, man. They're practicing well. They're playing fast, playing physical, selfless individuals. They're really doing a good job.
Front row on your right, Pete Sampson.
Marcus, I think preseason, Mike Denbrock said, look, we're not going to be a finished product offensively week 1. 6 games into it, has anything surprised you about the learning curve there? And do you sort of feel like you're about where you want to be?
Where we want to be after 6 games, yeah, but not where I want to be after 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 11, and 12, because, we're improving, right? And that's what you see from week 1 to week 6 is there's improvement. But there's another level. There's more. And I believe we'll get it because they'll put the work in that it takes.
Can you give some insight into Gabe Rubio's comeback, like when you felt like, okay, we're close, okay, now he can get a limited role, and if maybe he played even more than you would have expected for his first game back?
Yeah, no, he played right around what we thought. But it's a progression in terms of you get cleared to start running 1 week, you get cleared to start doing football-specific movements. So he was doing football-specific movements, but not in practice. Like, this was his first real week where he was actually in practice. And, we knew we were going to use him in a limited role, but he did a great job in that role that we had him in on Saturday.
Up the center aisle, Mike Berardino.
Marcus, I know when we see practice, you give all the kickers a chance to do competitive situations, but is this week where you kind of have an open competition just in case between Zach and Marcelo? And what is each of their ranges on a field goal at this point, do you think, safely?
It's to be determined, right? And we have an idea of where we expect those guys to be able to successfully make a field goal. But no, we won't have a competition. We have confidence that whoever we put out there will get the job done that we ask of them, because that's built in practice. But I think there's some really good things that Zach does, and there's some good things that Marcello does, and we'll be specific in our game plans in terms of what we ask to do. Now, the confidence is going to be built from practice, right? We're going to put them in situations that we expect to put them in on Saturday, and they got to build the confidence in the coaching staff by doing it in practice. But I'm really confident that they will.
Okay, and then. I just wonder what the protocol is, what the reminders to your everybody on the sideline is after something that we're reminded of down in the SEC, where a major college coach says he doesn't remember shoving another team's quarterback. What is the reminder regularly to your group on the sideline? And is the emotion of a game such that you ever just don't remember a certain period? Is it that intense there?
I don't know what happened. I don't know what you're talking about, but the general rule of thumb is use common sense. But yeah, if you're not helping Notre Dame, then if you're not helping us win or you're not doing something to help us have success, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. I mean, that's the general rule of thumb. So putting your hands on another opponent's player isn't helping us win. And so at the end of the day, everybody has a role on our team on that sideline, and that role has to be to help us win, and no matter what that case may be.
Second row on your right, Jackson Neal.
Marcus, there's been some shuffling on the offensive line all season long. Now just a couple games with this group. Just how have you kind of seen them come together even throughout some injuries?
Yeah, I mean, you had 5 guys that were in there for the first couple games, and because of injuries, you had to you put Rocco and Kuz back in there. And again, they all have done a really good job as individuals, and with time, right, they're continuing to be cohesive as a unit. And so really proud of that group. Through some that are playing through some injuries and being thrust into a position because of injuries, and they're improving constantly, man.
And then now, next 2 weeks, playing in NFL stadiums. Is there anything different playing in these kind of neutral site NFL stadiums rather than a normal just away game?
I think this week is a little bit different being indoor. You got to continue to remind them that there's NFL numbers on the field, right? Those are things that are important. Crowd noise probably can be a factor in an indoor stadium. And so those are the things that you have to remind them as you go into this game before the game, right? And that's what I keep talking about. Like, we've been here before. You have to show them, hey, there's NFL numbers here. Here's where you're going to line using college numbers. There'll be ticks out there. It's indoor. Hey, let's prepare for some type of crowd noise. Other than that, probably nothing much different.
Coach Freeman, thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.